Hey guys, BananasFinest here, and welcome to another Samurai Shodown video. Today we're going to be talking about how to play Yashamaru. So in this video, I want it to be kind of quick, and I'm going to cover three things. I'm going to cover his normals, combos, a couple combos that you can learn, as well as his like neutral game slash overall game plan. So without further ado, let's get into the normals. Alright, so real quick, we're just going to run through his normals, what are good, what are bad. Sorry, which ones are good, which ones are bad, and go from there. So here we have his stand light, pretty standard. His crouch light, pretty much the same thing. Close up, it changes into a punch, comes out pretty quick, as well as a punch as well. His mediums. Stand medium is very good. It has a lot of range, very good for poking, keeping your opponents at distance. It's down medium, kind of this overhead slash. This is not very good for anti-air though. I would not recommend using this for that purpose. Close up changes obviously, comes out a little bit quicker, and you can actually usually combo this, yeah there we go, into his quarter circle forward. But we'll get into that later in the combo section. So this is really good for close up. Alright, moving on to his heavies. Here's his stand heavy. Lots of range, obviously a lot of damage, just like all heavy attacks. His down heavy is very good for punishing long distance parries. This is also what you use for your grab combos as well, which we'll get into in a minute. Oops, accidentally played the recording. Close up, that's his stand heavy, and crouching heavy as well. Alright, in terms of jumping normals, his jump light is pretty good. It comes out pretty quick. It's good for anti-air, as well as it has a decent hitbox here, as you can see, for catching people. You know, they obviously have to block that overhead. His his jump medium, I'd say, is his best anti-air. It comes out really quick, has pretty good range, but this one is not very good at hitting grounded opponents, as you can see. Yeah, I have to get pretty close down to hit a crouching opponent. Or I guess Tam Tam is standing, but you get what I mean. His jump heavy, pretty good, especially the close-up one. Here, let's just have Tam Tam jump here. Whoops. There it is. Sorry, that took so long. So his jump forward slash, it has a really large hitbox like above him, which is really good for catching people as well right there. That's the one I was trying to get out. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, his jump heavy is a really good combo starter. Has a pretty decent hitbox for grounded enemies, and you can do little combos off of it. So this is a good one to throw out in neutral if they're on the ground. But if they are jumping a lot, I definitely recommend throwing out his medium. Okay, so that briefly covered his light, medium, and heavy normals. Obviously, he also has a universal overhead, just like I'm pretty sure every character has in this game, which is not bad. I guess his running heavy is an overhead as well. And yeah, he has like the standard kicks as well, like a low kick, a high kick, and like this kind of sliding kick that gets you a knockdown as well. Alright, and real quick we're going to cover his special moves. Yashamaru actually doesn't have too many of these, which is pretty nice, keeps him nice and simple. Relatively simple anyways. So his first one, he has a double jump, which I think I've already mentioned, which is really nice for mobility purposes. Helps him get around, it's pretty quick, which is nice. Next up he has a quarter circle forward and attack button. This is the light version. As you can see, it's this dash forward, does some damage, knocks the opponent down. The medium version goes a little bit farther, does a little bit more damage. And then the heavy version launches him up like this. You can catch jumping opponents with that as well. Also, his quarter circle forward and attack button special can be used in the air. Similarly, it just kind of launches him across the screen. This is the light version. Medium version goes pretty far. And then the heavy version actually angles downwards towards a grounded opponent. And I really like to use this move in neutral. If people are throwing out projectiles, I can usually whiff punish with this from a distance. We'll also cover that in the neutral section as well. He also has an air projectile. That's when he's in the air. This can be after a double jump as well. That's just quarter circle back and an attack button. So the light version throws the projectile pretty close. Medium version throws it out just a little bit further, and the heavy version is basically full screen, and this is what happens when you hit them with it, like so. You can actually get a little bit of a combo off of this move if you're in rage, but we'll cover that in the combo section. Alright, and lastly, he has this overhead DP, which is the, I don't know how to describe this. I kind of think of it as like a reverse quarter circle forward and then coming back. I don't know what to call it. There's the input. So he kind of jumps into the air, does this spinny slash. That's the light version. The medium version goes a little bit further, and I think the heavy version just goes even, whoops, even further, yeah. So they do have to block that overhead. That is a true overhead. So this is a pretty fun tool to throw out sometimes. When you're in max rage, obviously his special moves get better. Specifically, what am I doing? Specifically, his medium one actually crosses the opponent up. Sorry, if he's close enough, that is. Yeah. So he has to block that from the other side, and when you're in rage, Yashamaru will correct and switch to face your opponent properly. When he's not in rage, he'll land facing the wrong way. So this is pretty good whenever he's in rage. So that being said, let's go ahead and move on to a couple combos that I think are pretty basic for needing to know how Yashamaru works. Alright, so the first one that I would recommend learning is this one here. Okay, sometimes I do believe they cannot block that. Let's check. We'll have him guard crouch. So let's see. Yeah, so that's a true combo there. Because as you can see, if I wait too long, then he'll block. So that's a true combo. That's just his neutral heavy air into a close medium slash into quarter circle forward light. Very strong, does a lot of damage, as you can see, about 360, which is pretty solid. That being said, if you're a little bit farther away, you can't combo it off of his further, let's see, his further medium slash. This guy, that there, that's the only combo you can get if you're that distance away, because you can only combo into the quarter circle forward light if you do like the close medium slash. There we go. Okay, that's the one I'm talking about. So that's really good. Even on block, I mean, that's a decent block string. So obviously it is punishable. He can punish you for this, but he might try to take his turn back, like after he sees that recoil on the medium, which you can recoil cancel into that. So it's pretty decent. I recommend throwing this out a lot if they're staying on the ground. This is pretty much what I throw out consistently. Okay, moving on. You need to know what you can get off his grab. So that right there is what you want to go for. As far as I know, that's as optimal as you can get off the grab anywhere. This works on back grab as well. So that's just a grab into, excuse me, I just grab into crouching heavy. In the corner, you can get, oh my goodness, you can get this combo, but this actually only does more damage than the down heavy if you are in rage. There we go. Sorry that took me a second, but as you can see, I got 252 damage off that as opposed to 202 damage from the heavy. So that's only when you're in rage, max rage though. Otherwise, this is going to be pretty much your go-to off grabs. Whoops. Yeah. Alright, also, whenever he's in rage, you get you're able to get a little bit more off of his projectile. So I'll show that really quick. Okay, so that's just his, I mean, it doesn't matter what distance you are, but if you land his, I forget what this is called, but his air projectile, you can then combo into his overhead DP. And that's just the medium version, so after you launch them up into the air, you just do the that move there. And you get a pretty decent chunk of damage. You do have to be careful though, because this move, as I'm sure you know, is very unsafe on block, so you got to be really careful throwing that out. Only throw it out if you know that your opponent has whiffed or something. Alright, real quick, let's also mention Yashamaru's weapon flip. So his weapon flip is pretty weird because, at least as far as I know, you cannot combo into this. A lot of people can combo off of grab into weapon flip, but his takes way too long to do that. So honestly, what I like to do sometimes when I have this is just throw out a couple of them. You get pretty decent chip damage on your opponent. It is punishable if they know how to jump over it at just the right time and then like heavy slash you. But if they don't know that timing, they'll often get caught by either the front end or the back end of this, and then they'll lose their weapon for it. So just be careful. If it seems like they know how to punish it, don't throw this out carelessly. But pretty much the only way that you can land this, to my knowledge anyways, is from a successful parry. Oop. Emphasis on successful. Oop. Here we go. Yeah, so as you can see, that's one way that you can land this. But you typically won't be hitting people with this, which is the unfortunate truth of Yashamaru. That's one of his weaknesses. But just knowing that, you can plan appropriately. Okay, so we went over the basic combo here. The jumping heavy slash into medium into quarter circle forward light. But on block, you might want to mix it up if your opponent starts to kind of sense that pattern. So if they block the overhead, you have a couple options. One, you can go into a low kick. That's kind of a decent mix-up if they aren't blocking low once you hit the ground. You can catch them off guard that way. You can also go for just an empty jump into a grab. That's very strong with Yashamaru. He can jump around and mix up your opponent and then go for a grab. So that's pretty strong. And then another one that's really good if they block is, as soon as you land, go into the overhead. Because a lot of times people will block low once they see you hit the ground. Obviously, Tam Tam here is set to block high, but this is a really good way to mix up your opponent as well. Okay, now that we've covered combos and kind of like ways to put your opponent on block and how to deal with that, let's go ahead and wrap up with Yashamaru's general game plan. So obviously he's very quick. He's got high mobility. He has a double jump that is not restricted to a wall jump. Like, this is a true double jump anywhere, which I believe he's the only one in the cast who has this. So you want to utilize his high mobility. I often spend a lot of time in the air. You have to be careful, obviously, because you're pretty vulnerable when in the air. Oh my goodness, loud car driving by. You're pretty vulnerable when in the air, but you just got to make use of his air normals. For anti-air, like I said, his jumps, medium slash is really good if your opponent likes to jump a lot. This will beat a lot of things that they throw out. If they stay on the ground a lot, utilize that jump heavy. You just can't throw it out too quickly, so as you can see here, I'll whiff. Just make sure that you're gonna actually land it, and plus the closer you are to the ground when you throw it out, you can do that combo. That being said, a lot of characters in this game have DPs, so if you're jumping around too much, they're going to start DPing you out of the air, so you need to watch out for that. Sometimes you can bait DPs with the double jump. Act like you're jumping in, jump back, they DP, then you can run forward for like a big heavy whiff punish. That's a big part of his game plan as well. Similarly, something I love to do in neutral is if I'm jumping around and they're trying to throw out projectiles, I'll throw out this move in the air, which is his quarter circle forward heavy. It's a really good gap closer and really good for punishing long distance things. that you know, that your opponent might be throwing out and they aren't expecting it. So this is a really good move. I really like this move. Just be careful because it is very punishable when he's not in rage. When he's not in rage, he just kind of stops right in front, and you can get punished there. So just be careful. Throw this out sparingly, just like, you know, this move here. But I do prefer this to this move because I think it's a little bit harder to punish, because there's a chance that you could just like go over your opponent and block in time, whereas with this move, you pretty much, if you miss, you're gonna get punished regardless. So this is a really good thing to have as well. So basically, yeah, you're just going to be trying to hop around, flit around, and punish mistakes that your opponent makes while trying to hit you in the air, because a lot of times they can get frustrated and mess up. So you're going to want to jump in, you know, do your block strings, mix in some throws with your jumps, your double jumps, to really confuse them. Similarly, on the ground, his stand medium is extremely good for keeping distance, for poking. You know, you don't get to combo off of that if it hits, but it's really good for keeping opponents at bay. Yeah, so that about does it for this Yashamaru guide. I hope you found some of these combos helpful. They're pretty simple, and like I said, you only need a couple things to do well in this game, so if you know just a couple things about how your character works fundamentally, that's a really good place to start. So yeah, once again, you're just going to want to be jumping around, punishing mistakes that your opponent makes, throwing out anti-airs, throwing out your heavy slash, dishing out big damage, and then just punishing your opponent whenever they, you know, whiff from a long distance, keeping people at bay with your stand medium and your range and things like that. Anyways, I hope you guys found this guide helpful. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and or subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Peace. 俺の風からは逃げられまい。